Flowchart example, command inputs. Now the following flowchart outlines the processes involved when entering directional command inputs into a game. So we're talking about when you press left, right, up or down, how we can kind of get the logic behind that when intending to code that through pre-preparing with a flowchart. So it's going to involve the following steps here. So firstly, users need to enter the directional input, okay, using an input device, okay. So I've highlighted that in blue because that requires user input, meaning I got to use my input output symbol. Secondly, the system needs to determine the entered input and decide on a process, okay. So as it already said there, that is a process. I've highlighted in pink because that means I'm going to have to use my process symbols. It also specifies too, it's deciding. All right, so that means a decision is going to involve in there as well, meaning I'll need my diamond. Thirdly, the system then needs to output the movement within the game. All right, so whatever the user inputs, it needs to be interpreted, and then the system needs to respond with the movement of the object on screen within my game. And then finally, the system needs to prepare for the next movement input. So how does it then get ready for what the user might press next? So we're going to try to map all this out. And as you can see, I've done all my pre-planning with color coding here, trying to visualize what are my processes, what are my decisions, where are my input outputs, so that now I know kind of what logic I need to be in when creating this flowchart. So starting off, I've got my Terminator. Let's begin this program. What's going to happen? Well, we need to get the user input. Okay, I've given it the variable user input. That's what we need to obtain from the user. We then need to determine what was user input. What direction did they press on their keypad? So we've got obviously a variety of options here. If they pressed up, I'm going to move the object up 10 frames. All right. And then that will then transcend into that movement taking place on screen. They can also press down. I'm then going to move down 10 frames. All right. And then that will happen on screen. They can press left and it will move left 10 frames, or they can press right and it'll move right 10 frames. Now, this is a decision. So as we go down this path, it's only one of them happening at a time. All right, so it's only moving 10 frames in one of these directions at this point through this sequence. What I then got to decide is, are they pressing another command? All right, and then that will then loop it back so that the user can press down 3 times and the actual object will move down the screen 30 frames, or they might press right left up and that will loop it so that then the actual structure goes through this 3 times and the actual object will move right 10 frames, left 10 frames, and then up 10 frames. All right, so the loop helps set that out. So I can put in as many commands as I want and move this object all over the screen now. And that's pretty much the end of this subroutine. This would obviously be built into a program where there are other command inputs related to other buttons also taking place, as well as many other commands to the whole running of the actual game itself. All right, but as far as the command inputs for my directions within my game, this is the logic of my subroutine being displayed here, moving my object around the screen there. So I hope this has helped you understand a bit of the flowchart logic once again and how it can help map out specific subroutines within our programs.